Hello, my name is Ashley Nyhan, and today we're going to be talking about the grand piano. Before I get into the presentation, I want to go over some of the content that I'm going to be talking about, starting with the history of the grand piano, its origin and evolution over the past 300 years. Next, we're going to go into some basic definitions and terms that one should know about a piano. Then we're going to talk about different parts of the piano, both exterior and interior, along with their purpose. And we're going to check out how the piano actually works. And finally, we're going to look at the differences between different types of piano: electric, upright, and grand. The creation of the grand piano was credited to Bartolomeo Cristofori around the year 1700. His greatest achievement within this invention was in the creation of a stringed instrument in which notes were struck by hammers. Around the year 1777, John Broadwood, Robert Stoddart, and Americus Backers joined together to create the first grand piano, which was basically just a piano in a harpsichord case. From the years 1790 to 1860 and during the Industrial Revolution, many major changes were made to improve the sound of the piano along with its quality, including the addition of iron frames, soundboards, and pin plates. Also, different methods of stringing were introduced. Joseph Haydn and Ludwig van Beethoven were the first men credited with creating pianos that had 5 or more octaves. Finally, there have been many material changes over the years when it comes to piano making. For example, keyboards were originally made from sugar pine, and then it was moved to spruce. Ebony was then used for black keys and ivory for white keys, and today plastics are used to make keyboards. Moving on to some basic definitions that one should know. A chord is at least 3 notes played simultaneously. When a series of chords are played one after another, this is called a chord progression. A chromatic scale is a scale made up of only half notes, which is the smallest difference between 2 notes, also known as a half step. Major and minor chords are differing patterns of whole and half steps used within a chord. An octave is a period of 8 steps or notes from the one on which you began. A whole step is twice as big as the half step and is usually just the difference between one white key to another. Moving on to some grand piano parts on exterior. A lid is a cover that is hinged to hold to the spine of the piano and folds down to protect the interior parts. It can be held in different positions as seen below. These positions are held together by a lid prop, which holds the lid in an upright position, allowing the sound waves created by the piano to escape into the surrounding room. While the piano is being played, it is best to keep the lid open or half open, as it will allow the best sound to reverberate from the piano. Music racks are used to hold sheet music or devices, making notes and chords easier to read by bringing them closer to the pianist. A keyboard is a set of keys or levers that are depressible, triggering a note to play and a sound to be produced via a felt-covered hammer. A fallboard is a covering that protects the keyboard when the piano is not in use. Hinges allow it to fold up and down. From left to right, there's 3 pedals: the soft pedal, the sostegno pedal, and the dampering pedal. These control the way in which notes sound when played and are controlled by using the pianist's foot. Moving on to interior piano parts. The action is the mechanism allowing the depression of keys on the keyboard along with the rapid movement of the hammer triggering a note to play. When a key is pressed, the felt-covered hammer associated with that key strikes a string, resulting in the playing of a note. The force that an individual uses to press a key determines how loud the note will play and how hard the hammer will hit the string. Tuning pins are used to tune piano strings. They are steel cylinders that have a piano string running through a hole in them and then tightly wound around in multiple coils. Dampers press lightly against strings to control vibrations and in turn the volume of each note being pressed. A bass or treble bridge helps to transfer musical energy from the strings and into the soundboard, creating scale design flexibility based on the type of note being played. bass or treble. Pianos have over 200 bass or treble strings. Lower bass notes have 1 string per pitch, upper bass notes have 2 strings per pitch, and treble notes have 3 per pitch. Cast iron plates sit directly above the soundboard, absorbing most of the tension created by the grand piano's 200-plus strings. As mentioned previously, these iron plates were one of the inventions that were added during the Industrial Revolution. Finally, a soundboard is a wooden board within pianos used to amplify sound, making louder sounds over wider ranges of space. How it works. When a key on the piano is pressed, the hammer associated with that note strikes, slowly or swiftly depending on the force used by the pianist, on a string. Vibrations from the string are sent through the bridges and to the soundboard. Those vibrations continue into the soundboard, making the whole piano vibrate to make music. Some differences in pianos. A grand piano has a horizontal frame and strings that stretch over a wider space. All action in grand pianos takes place beneath the strings, and gravity is utilized to return the piano to a state of rest. This is by far the most elegant piano of the three. Upright pianos are more compact. Their frame and strings are structured vertically as opposed to horizontally. Now, this is the most popular model as it is the least expensive and takes up the least amount of space. Finally, electric pianos incorporate different types of music by the ability to make different sounds. Electric pianos are non-acoustic, meaning they have no strings or hammers. Thank you so much for listening.